So, without further ado, coming to the stage right now is Johannes Larson from the Campfire Music Foundation, our partner in helping develop all of this. And take it away, Hans.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kate, for the very kind introduction. Today, I'm going to be talking about something that was brought up a lot throughout the day that probably every one of us working as an artist or working with artists sees as an issue, and music streaming. So we're going to talk a little bit about the processes through which streaming works, and then I'm going to tell you about Campfire, and my goal is to get you thinking about what a solution can look like. Maybe I'll convince you Campfire is the solution, maybe not, but at the very least, I hope you come out with some ideas about how to fix this issue. Just to tell you a little bit about my organization, Campfire is a 501c3 nonprofit that started as a research project at Georgetown University in Michael Bracey's class. And since then, it has evolved into a national project backed by artists, stakeholders, and our mission is building a public benefit music streaming platform for artists, fans, and independent music communities. So let's start by talking about how exploitative streaming models hurt artists and independent labels. Let's talk about it. So let's talk about the algorithm first. Independent artists and labels, you're less likely to be put on any playlists, you're less likely to be put in a shuffle, and you're less likely to be recommended to listeners, right? If it feels like an uphill battle getting your songs to have traction on streaming, it's because it is. Not good. Thank you. And even if you do break through the algorithm, when independent artists and labels do break through the algorithm, you don't get the same rate that the majors do. So if you have a song that has 3 million streams, you're not going to get paid the same as majors. So major record labels with ownership stakes in streaming see indie payouts as an expense to minimize. This shouldn't be a surprise. They are for-profit companies that at the end of the day will maximize their revenue and their profit, and this is how they do it. Last year, Spotify demonetized tracks under 1,000 streams, roughly 202 million songs, and it just came out that this has likely lost artists nearly $50 million just since that process started. So you may have heard like, oh, Spotify's not profitable. It makes sense artists aren't getting paid. Well, it was never supposed to be profitable, right? With streaming, money isn't made off of profit, it's made off of equity. So the majors who own Spotify, they're willing to take a couple $1 million in losses on running the platform because it's profitable for the owners. They make billions on equity, right? We talk a lot about how this hurts artists and how this hurts labels. How does this hurt consumers and fans? Well, for starters, platforms are not incentivized to improve their user experience, their user interfaces. They're not incentivized to add social functionality. They're not incentivized to really add anything besides music on the platform. If they have a 70% market share, they're content with their users getting the experience that they do. And like I said, algorithm shuffle are profit first and music discovery second. Consumer choice is an illusion when it comes to major streaming platforms. Your money isn't going to the artists you listen to, and there are very little ways that you can get your money to the artists you listen to. Streaming encourages passive listening and isolation, and it weakens local music communities and the connection between artists, fans, and devalues culture. How else does this hurt consumers? Well, your data is constantly being sold, right? Every day that you use the platform is another piece of information to sell to advertisers. If you're an artist and you bring fans to the platform, they're happy because they get to sell their data. And really, we talk about, oh, streaming is great for consumers. We get the entire history of recorded music in our phones, and that is great, right? But that's not an excuse to not innovate and to not give fans a better experience. Furthermore, every day AI artists are being uploaded to platforms by Spotify and major labels. And for example, how many of you know who Paul Chambers is? Couple? Okay, Paul Chambers was a bass player that lived from 1935 to 1969, and this is what his music sounds like. Right? And I'm a jazz fan, so the other day I was listening, And in my recommendation playlist, I got recommended this song by Paul Chambers that came out last year. Right? How does that work? He's been dead since 1969. And if you take a listen to it, so artists don't want that. Users didn't ask for that, and certainly Paul Chambers did not ask for that. This is not the only example. This is collusion between the majors and the streaming platforms to reduce the amount of money it costs to have content. And this is not the only artist. Ernestine Anderson, another old artist, they're doing this with a lot of old artists, and really it's disrespectful to their legacy. It pisses me off, and it should piss you off too. And, whoops. And before I kind of get into what a solution could look like, how we can start thinking about building a solution, I just want to of the work that we do with artists.
Like, money from streaming is like, nah, it's non-existent, really.
Like, when it comes to producing my music and releasing and the money that I get from streams, it's not at all financially viable or supportive in how I feel that I should be valued. And I feel that most artists also feel that way that I'm in connection with.
I remember for years, and I think to this day, the perception of that everyone, a lot of people thought Doomtree was like rich, like we lived in mansions, and we were like, you know, I remember when one of the artists was bar backing in the winter when we weren't touring a lot, just to like kind of cover extra money, and the amount of, he had to stop because the amount of people that would come in and just be like, dude, what are you doing here? Like, why are you bartending? It's like, because I need to make money, man. I'm not like, I can't retire off this. So
I used to make more money, actually. But the fees have stayed the same, and the expenses have gone up. So, you know, like I said, I used to tour with a tour manager and one extra band member, but there's no more money for that.
I'm not saying anybody needs to be mega rich, but like, you should be able to live. I've had people be like, oh my God, you have 3 million streams on this song. I was like, yeah. If music is serious enough to get you through whatever low down shit you're going through, if music is serious enough to accompany you in the highest moments of your life, if music is serious enough for it to accompany you through your just mundane days, should that not be a serious enough profession that a bitch can do that and only that and live?
Like,
So, whoops.
money.
You may have recognized that last artist, Mayada, from an earlier panel. Very well said. So how do we approach a solution to this, right? Well, it starts by accepting that the current system is never going to compensate us fairly. And a solution through policing, through regulation, it's not going to happen, right? And what it comes back to is it's not the technology that's the issue. The technology works. Having access to music digitally is incredible, but it's the model and it's how the economics of it are organized. The only way this will change, in my opinion, is by building a new system, a new model, and a new platform. So what does a new system look like, and what might it look like? Well, for starters, it needs to be aligned with all of the public benefit work that has been on display today, right? The same way that Sonic Guild is a public benefit organization serving musicians in the area, Campfire will be a public benefit platform, and this needs to be aligned with principles of workforce development, market democratization, and engagement with youth and music communities. It needs to be a revenue pie independent of major labels, and it needs to return royalties directly to those who created them. And really, we need a model that centers the value of artists, their work, and their fans before anything else. So our plan for what we're doing with Campfire is the money you pay goes directly to the artists you listen to. It's this name your price subscription model, the Fugazi way. So if you can only afford to give $4 a month, that's what you can give. If you're a huge music fan and you want to show off how much you care about independent music, you can give $50 a month. And your subscription goes directly to the artist you listen to. So a lot of you probably know what a user-centric model is, but just to go through it, if someone listens to you for 25% of your month, then 25% of your subscription fee is allocated to that artist, right? Or that rights holder. And no ads. We are a nonprofit, so Campfire would be, you could listen to a song a couple times, but if you want to add it to a playlist, have any sort of functionality, then you have to pay. And really, we want to implement open algorithms and transparency in how artists are paid. Furthermore, a solution needs to be connected to local music communities, needs to be connected to the work that so many of you in this room do, that so many people around the country have been doing to help independent musicians. We believe that there's a huge lack of social functionality in current streaming platforms. You can't comment on songs, you can't send songs, you can't really post in any sort of meaningful way. That's something we want to implement. And then in terms of getting content on the platform, our goal is direct licensing with artists and independent labels. And then also working within existing structures. So in the case that royalties need to be paid out to someone other than whoever uploaded the song, that there are mechanisms to do so, right? So just to briefly tell you where we are at, we recently ended a year of strategic planning, and we're really expanding our relationships with artists, with stakeholders, with independent labels.
Artists that Campfire has worked with include
Tommy Stinson from The Replacements, Dessa, Brendan Canty from Fugazi, and other individuals who knows what it means to be a part of their music community, right? I can show you our beta app. So you can see artists. If you want to know where your money goes as a user, it shows you exactly where it goes. If you want to know what's going on in your local music community, go to the Twin Cities, see what artists make music there. You can do that. This is very early stage, but I just wanted to give you guys a little sneak peek. And just to finish it off, what does building this look like? Well, it's giving artists a context for the value of their work. I think uploading to streaming, not only is there's literally no economic value in it, but it also devalues you emotionally, right? If you're an artist and you're constantly giving, like we all know what it means to do free work in the music industry, and it's not very fun. And an artist uploading their music, it's free work and it's devaluing, and it has a lot of weight on how you consider your own value. We want to launch within specific pilot music communities, getting a critical mass of artists from a certain music community on board, demonstrating that we can create value for artists within the specific community, and then expanding to other areas. And really what it comes down to is, rather than competing with major platforms on their own terms, we're creating something fundamentally different. A community-powered alternative, treating artists as stakeholders and not as content suppliers. It's a movement of artists, indie labels, arts organizations, and music fans at a scale that we've never seen before. Whether Campfire is the center of that, whether it's not, that's what we need to do, right? If streaming is one of the biggest issues that artists and independent arts communities have ever faced, then let's organize like it, right? So, briefly share this. If anyone is interested in joining up for our beta waitlist, feel free. If you're a user, sign up for that one. If you're an artist, sign up for that one. If you're not sure, then you're probably an artist and you should sign up as an artist. Does everyone get that? Give it a few more seconds here. Cool. Oh, I see one more phone going up. Oh, is it? Don't move it. Oh. Cool. And yeah, so to sum things up, by centering values like transparency, listener-artist relationships, and local culture, we want to turn Campfire into a trusted home for the people who care about music and the people who make it. Thank you.